Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for coming to my channel. I'm Brigitte of Brigitte's She Shed. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much. If you're a new viewer, hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Please grab yourself something to sip on. I am sipping on water today. It's great to be back. It's been about a month since I was last here. My health is improving, and so I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for all of the messages that I received, people sending me good wishes, and that's what's been healing me. So thank you very much. This is such a beautiful community. Like I said, if you're new here, you can find me on down below in the show notes. I have all the information on how you can find me. I put everything that I talk about in the show notes. I am a knitter and a crocheter and a sewist, and I love everything fiber. So this is just my little opportunity to talk about what I do with fiber. Primarily, usually it's about knitting and crocheting. So if that's your jam, you're in the right place. Grab some peanut butter so we can make a sandwich. That was corny, but I'm corny. Okay. All right, so let's get started because I don't want this to be too long. I want to start off by giving a special shout out to Diane with the Island Lamb Knits. Diane lives in Block Island, Rhode Island. That's so hard for me to say. And here in the U.S., for those of you that are watching for the first time, I live in the U.S. I live in southeastern Arizona, which is a desert area of the U.S. And Diane lives on the East Coast in Rhode Island. And let me tell you, the pictures that she puts in her podcast are beautiful. I want to visit. I so want to visit there. She is a prolific knitter. She makes some beautiful things, and she's a risk taker. And what I mean by that is Diane steeked a sweater or cardigan, and she filmed herself doing it, and then she posted it on her channel. Okay, to me, that's what I call a boss lady. She's bad. This chick is bad because I can barely do an afterthought heel. Just the thought of me cutting into my knitting makes me nauseous. It's like jumping out of an airplane, people who skydive. Why would I jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Okay, if the pilot's not jumping, I'm not jumping. That's how I feel about cutting into my knitting with steeking. But I'm getting better, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. But she steeked this cardigan, and it turned out beautiful. So check out Diane, the Island Lamb knits, and you're going to enjoy her podcast. You're really going to enjoy when she shows pictures of her community. So thank you very much, Diane, for subscribing to my channel and all the kind things that you had to say about my podcast. Okay, the next shout out that I would like to give to is to it's a Sarah. I've been watching her while I've been recuperating, and Sarah is in the Netherlands, and so she has taught herself how to speak English through her podcast. She does 2 podcasts now. She's doing one in English and one in Dutch. She just added now another 2 podcasts. She would come on once a week, and now she does twice a week on Mondays and Fridays in 2 different languages. Another bad knitter. I mean, she is knitter, crocheter, this another bad chick, okay, to do it in two different language. And she cracks me up because she talks about, excuse my Dutchy English. But actually, she's she's getting better. I totally understand her. She cracks me up because she has these conversations like with her alter ego, or another person, in her head. And so she says these things out loud, the conversations that you have in your head with yourself. She says it out loud, and just cracks me up. She's a beautiful knitter, and she also crochets too. Beautiful knitter. She will take a sweater and turn it into a cardigan by, once again, steeking it. These risk takers. So I guess I got to get with the cutting into my yarn and just get over that fear and challenge myself to do something, different. I'm working on it. Honest, I am. All right. So, how are you all doing? I hope your February was a great month. We had 2 weeks where we had snow in February, which is not common here where I live. It does snow in Arizona in the higher elevations. I'm at about 3,200 uh, feet, and so up against the foothills, and so we do get a little light dusting to typically around December, early January, but to have snow in February, it's really, really unusual. I was cranking up the heater. I got my gas bill to pay for the month of February. It had doubled. Yeah, $200. Yeah. And I was really shocked because my home is a newer home, and it's very well insulated. And I was like, wow, did I use that much gas to keep warm? But I am not going to freeze. But it was beautiful. It lasts a couple of days and then it's gone. So I hope all of you are enjoying what's, I'm hoping to be spring soon. Um, Although I do have a Palo Verde tree right outside my window over here. And that tree is beautiful with these beautiful yellow um, buds that come on it. And they are filled with pollen. I mean, the tree will be filled with bees, which is good. But the pollen, oh my gosh, my allergies go crazy. I almost need one of those respirators just to go outside because it's just horrible. So I can imagine with all of the rain that we received and the snow and the water and everything, that tree is just going to go crazy blooming. But it will be beautiful to look at, and hopefully I can insert some pictures of it once it's in bloom. All right, you came here for the knitting and the crocheting, so let's get to it. Again, grab your sip. I'm going to take a sip. And we're going to start off with what's finished objects, or hot off my needles and hot off my hook. So as I had said last month, I had been ill, and so I did not really knit or crochet, and I just didn't have the energy. So in February, I kind of found some energy, and I wanted something small to knit. So I started with some hats, and I actually made 6 hats. Is it 6? Yes. And the hats I made is the Annie bucket hat, which, oh, let me see if I can get a picture of it, because I didn't print it out. I'm using Knit Companion, and that is a tool that will help you track your pattern, and so you don't have to print everything out. But let me see if I can. if I can bring it up on the screen. And you probably saw my light ring on there circling it. But anyway, it's by, who's it by? Alexandra Tavel, or Tavel, Tavel. But like I said, I will put the links down below in the show notes. And it is made out of super bulky yarn, and it's a Lion brand yarn, and I believe it's 100% polyester. And I made the hats for my mom, my sister, my daughter, and a very, very good friend of my mom's. And the yarn is called Lion brand Go for Faux. And they have one that's Go for Faux Sparkle. And I just want to show you what it looks like. This is the Go for Faux Sparkle. It might be kind of hard to see. I made two in their colorway Black Panther, which is black, and one in their colorway called Red Panda. This is all I had left. And it's like a burgundy. It's like a burgundy color. But this is the yarn. This would be better to show than the white. And the white was the same thing. I had two different shades of white. One is called Star, and that has sparkles in it. And then one is called Comet. No, I'm sorry, not Comet. Baked Alaska. And so the thing about this is you use a very large hook. And you use a 8mm or a size L. And this hat is very forgiving because when you're crocheting this, you can't see your stitches from the row before because all of this fluffiness just fills in, which is fine. But so you have to feel your way through. You start at the crown with a magic circle. And I didn't know how to do a magic circle, but there are plenty of tutorials out there on YouTube. And you start that off with the magic circle, and then you increase and follow the pattern. So as long as each row has a stitch count, so you have to keep up with the counting of your stitches. And as long as you come out with the correct stitch count, where you've actually placed those stitches when you're crocheting is not that big of a deal. And as long as you get the dimension sizes that you're supposed to have, they'll have you check the dimensions in the pattern. So it's a super neat, fast knit. Once you get the feel of working with this yarn, I made a hat probably in about 2 hours. And so I made 6 of these, and I'll insert a picture somewhere in here, either while I'm talking or at the end of this podcast. I'll slide in some pictures, but so that you can see them. So that's one of my finished objects with 6 hats that I made in the month of February. And I sent them all off to their new homes, and I was housing them in this bag. And I made this bag, and I'm not a bag maker. This is the inside of the bag. And I've got some pockets. Got one big pocket. I've got pockets on the outside. And then it has a handle. and drawstring. And I was kind of going for like this little nautical look. So I do, like I said, I sew, but I don't make project bags. And again, with the chevrons in the inside. Okay. All right. So I decided that, okay, so after the hats, I only really had energy to work on something small. So a few episodes back, I had gone through my whips and I had pulled out some things that I wanted to continue to work on, some things I frogged. And so I says, oh, you know what? I need to go back to my whips. And I love knitting socks. And socks are small. They don't take a lot of energy. They're easy to put down and pick back up. So I'm going to work on my socks. And I think I showed these. These I started in November for the hubs. And this is the magical heel sock. And let me see, I have a picture of it. And they're by Judy, Jewell. She's also known as the Autumn Acorn. Really, really neat pattern, especially if you do not know the foot dimensions of the person that you're knitting the socks for. These were for the hubs, and they were living in my November bag from 3 by the Sea. As you know, they're my favorite bag maker, progress keeper maker, and yarn dyer now. But this was the bag that I got for the fall when I started these socks. But here are the socks. On this, to do one is easier. So the sock, this is a paid for pattern, but the sock is, if you know how to knit, and you've been doing vanilla socks, this is a great pattern for you to maybe to challenge yourself. It's cuffed down, and the heel portion, can you see that there? The heel is this like ribbing that you do. And then when you put your foot in it, it conforms to. Okay, I'm back. Had a little technical difficulty. My camera crew decided to, I guess, just go for a break. I don't have a camera crew. That would be me. I guess I need a new phone. That's bottom line. I use my phone, and it's an old phone. It's a S8 Plus, Galaxy S8 Plus, Samsung, and I think they're in like to the 20 something series now. So I really need a new phone. So, but anyway, I was talking about the heel. So the heel has this unique like ribbing that you do, and then when you put your foot in, the heel will conform to your foot. So this is a great pattern for if you're knitting, especially for kids and their feet grow, you know, really fast, or if you're knitting for someone and you do not know their foot size. The yarn, this beautiful yarn that I'm using, and I think I've showed this before when I had just got it, is by Lollipop Yarns. This year, I'm challenging myself to knit from my stash, so I'm not buying any new yarns, if I can help it. But really, I'm not buying any new yarns, so no new sips. This is called Lollipop Yarn, and this is a 80-20 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it came with 410 yards, 100 grams of the main color. It's self-striping, and a 25-gram, which is 102 yards for that I use for the cuff, the contrasting cuff, and the toe. And it's called Wine O'Clock. And there's 5 rows each in the color called Cabernet, Happy Hour, Caviar, Dip. I'm reading this without my glasses. Hors d'oeuvre, and then the mini that came with it was in the Cabernet. So I love these colors. They're really pretty. And this is what I have left. I have enough left. I haven't weighed it, but I have enough left to do a pair of shorties for myself. And I think probably if I mix the shorties with the self-striping, maybe do like self-striping at the top and then pick up another color to do the foot with. And then I'll have enough for 2 pairs of shorties. I really need to weigh it. And then this was the mini, which, like I said, was a very generous mini. It was 102 yards. So that's what I have left over. And like I said, these are for the hubs. And Magical Sock Heel. Give it a try. Okay, my next finished object that I have, again, with the socks theme, because we're going to, something to sock about is this episode, taken off of a spin from off of Bonnie Raitt's song, Something to Talk About, and is the Snowy Knit Socks. And these are by This Handmade Life. And another challenge that I have for this year is to get into doing color work. I did 2 pair of color work socks last fall. I did with little shorties with little ghosts on them that I showed, a pair for myself and a pair for the hubs. So I really want to do more, learn more about color work, because I eventually would like to do a color work sweater. I learned how to crochet when I was 7, and shortly thereafter I learned how to knit. So it's really odd that when I learned how to knit, I learned how to knit English style with using my right hand. Well, with the crocheter, you hold yarn in your left hand. So when you do color work, you hold it in your left hand. But I have such a hard time with that concept of doing that. And it's so hard for me. And even though, you know, I crochet. So what I do is I have the 2 colors. I knit with one color. Then I put it down with my right hand. Then I pick up the other color with my right hand, knit so many stitches or whatever according to the chart, and then I put it down. Then I pick back up. That's a lot of movement. It would be so much easier if I had that second yarn available on my left hand, just sitting there waiting. So I need to challenge myself now with learning how to do continental knitting. So my question is out there, please put in the comments, how many of you are continental knitters or English knitters? Can you do both? Do you do color work? What do you do? Maybe some tips to help me. Like I said, because I am a crocheter, and when I pick up that crochet hook, it's just so natural. I pick up that yarn and do it. But when I'm knitting, I just have a hard time with holding that yarn in my left hand. So anyway, here is my version of the Snowy Night socks. by This Handmade Knit. They are very fuzzy. They're beautiful. So the yarn I used, the main color, this is a navy blue, and this is Knit Picks Stroll. And then I really wanted the little stars. I'm not sure. I think they're stars or snowflakes. I'm not sure. But excuse me, I really wanted them to pop. So I used a yarn, a lace weight yarn by Patons, and it's called Pattons Lace. And I showed this in a few episodes back when I had started these. It's Pattons Lace. And this colorway is called Antique, and it's like a off-white, a vintage off-white. And actually, I'm sorry, the color is called Vintage. Is the name of the color. And it is a fine weight. So rather than a sock weight, which means it's a little thicker than the sock weight, but I don't know if you can see the halo. It's really fuzzy, and it is 80% acrylic and 10% mohair. So the Knit Picks is 75% superwash and 25% nylon. So I mix these two together because I thought with this fuzzy mohair, this would really make the stars or snowflakes, really make them pop, and it does. But man, is it fuzzy, especially around on the toe. So this pattern is done cuff down and with a round toe. And there's two different charts that you can make. And it's just beautiful. I love this. This is my first time knitting this Handmade Life pattern. And what other modification to make? Oh, the heel. The heel is the pattern calls for a short row heel, and it gives you instructions for doing the short row heel. But I like the shadow wrap heel technique used by Denise with Earth Tones Knit. Earth Tone Girls is the name of her podcast. And I like her technique that she uses, and it's called the shadow wrap heel. And so that's what I substituted instead. But other than that, I did it exactly like the pattern called for. I'm a loose knitter, but so did I follow? Yes, I followed the needle sizes because I'm a loose knitter, and I figured with the you can see the insides there. So I'm learning how to, I didn't catch any floats. I just pulled my stitches, and I'll just be careful when I put them on. So I'm just learning. So this is the third pair of color work. Yeah. So, okay. And that's it for finished objects. So what am I working on right now? Well, right now I'm working on another pair of colorwork socks. And I started these socks early last year, and we ran into some problems. This was my first actual time doing a colorwork project. And the socks that I were making was, my niece requested that I make her a pair of socks with a leopard print. And so I searched Ravelry, and lo and behold, I found something. And these are Not Your Average Cat Lady Socks by Emma Carrion. And I started these, like I said, early last year. And I didn't know what I was doing. And she recommended the needle size. And like I said, I'm a loose knitter, so I went ahead and made that needle size. And when I got ready to try the sock on, I made the first one. And when I got ready to try the sock on right after the heel, I couldn't get it over my foot. I couldn't get over my ankle to get up to my, I couldn't get it on. It was too tight. And I was like, what? Too tight? I'm a loose knitter. So I ripped the whole thing out and I put it in a corner. And so now I'm bringing it back out. I want to finish these socks, and I would love to give them to my niece and to surprise her. She has no idea that I'm even working on them, because all it was just that she just gave a suggestion and said, Auntie, can you make, socks with like a leopard print? So I am using Knit Picks Stroll in black and Treasure. Okay. And here is oh gosh, I've got strings everywhere. So here is the sock. And I'm using the technique of knitting it on 2 needles. What I did was I did the cuff on a 9-inch circular, and then the colorwork portion I'm using 2 needles. I like knitting socks on using either magic loop or the 2 needle method. I learned the 2 needle method again from Denise with Earth Tones Girls. She has a great tutorial for that. Now this string here is for the afterthought heel. It's for the placement of the afterthought heel. This is some waste yarn. And they give instructions for doing this, and I'm going to follow their instructions plus follow the video again from Earth Tone Girls from Denise on the afterthought heel. As I said earlier, I'm being a risk taker. I've only done, maybe this might be my 3rd pair of socks where I've done an afterthought heel and cut into my knitting. This will be the first time that I've used the waste yarn technique. The technique that I've used before, you just kind of put like a little marker here and a marker here, and you put your needle in above and below and pick up. So I'm challenging myself to make the afterthought heel, use the waste yarn. I was this close to not doing the afterthought heel, and just when it came down to this part, just going ahead and putting in my contrast, my heel, using the contrasting yarn and doing that, and totally forgetting about it. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I am going to make these, and I am the boss of my knitting, and I am going to challenge myself with the afterthought heel. So I did go up a needle size than what was recommended, since when I did this before, I did not do that. And when I did it before, I didn't do the waste yarn. When I did it before, I put in a short row shadow wrap, short row heel, because I was too chicken. I was too chicken to do the afterthought heel. But so here it is on the inside. So not too bad. So I'm hoping I'll be able to, that it will fit over my foot, because before I think it would barely fit over Little Nugget's foot. So for those of you that don't know, Little Nugget is my great grandson that made his debut on January 4th at 8 pounds. He is now 15 pounds. No, take that back. 12 pounds. 12 pounds? Yes, 12 pounds. And so he's growing like crazy. So, any tips you guys have on the afterthought heel? Or, you know what? And I've been reading some things that says if you put waste yarn in, that's not an afterthought heel, that's a forethought heel. I don't know. Semantics. Potato, potato. But if any of you can give me any tips on, you know, things, because what I don't like is I don't want holes. And that's what I like about the shadow wrap heel versus a heel flap and gusset, is because I always get holes. And even though I pick up the extra stitches and I'll do all that, I always get holes. But with the shadow wrap heel, I do not get holes. The 2 previous socks that I did with the method that you just like mark and you go above, I put a little bulb stitch marker in here and here, and you stick your needle in above and below that marker, and then you cut, and then you go all the way to about, you leave two stitches on that you don't pick out, and so you don't have the holes. And I like that method. So I'm hoping that this will work out and that I won't get any holes, because I don't want to have to go back and sew. I know I can go back and sew up a hole and tighten it up, but I don't want to do that. So if any of you have thoughts on that, I'd love to hear what you have to say and maybe try your recommendations. Okay. So that is what I am currently working on now. And I'm also working, and well, because this is about socks, so I'll just leave it at that. And I did want to bring something out. As you can see, I have a little library going on back here. And for resources, I love books. And I thought I'd share one of the books that I have in regards to sock knitting. So if you are a sock knitter or you'd like to become a sock knitter, I started knitting socks maybe about 7 years ago, and I learned off of the internet. I had several patterns before, and I tried to do it, and it was using DPNs, and that was just not working for me. And then I came across a video where you use 9-inch circulars, and that really worked for me. So that's when I started knitting socks, and I fell down that rabbit hole and I can't stop. I love knitting socks. So if you've tried knitting socks and maybe the method that you were trying isn't working, you don't have to stick to that method. There are plenty of other methods out there. There's DPNs, there's magic loop, there's 2 circulars, there's 9-inch circulars. So find one that works for you, or a combination of the 2. Like I said, now I do a combination of either magic loop or 2 circulars using a 9-inch circular for my cuffs. But this book here, this is the Sock Knitter's Handbook, and it's by Charlene Church and Beth Parrott. This is one of my go-to books if I want to look for something really quickly, and I don't want to go to the internet and search. And I love this book because they give you everything from how to cast on. Um, they talk about the different types of cast on, cuffs, legs, heels, everything. Just a couple of things that I have marked here. One is cuffs. I hope you can see that. And they talk about the different types of cuffs, and they show you how to make them. I haven't tried these. Same thing with heels. You've got strong heel, French heel, a Dutch heel. So I still haven't, I've got them marked. I haven't tried them yet, but eventually I'll get to it. One that I do use a lot is their toes for top down socks. And so I like that. And then they even have a short row toe with wraps. Haven't tried that yet. May have to look at that. And then my favorite thing that's marked that I use all the time is the chart. So this chart, they have a chart for women, a chart for men, and then a chart for children. So if you're knitting socks for someone and you don't know, like you don't have a cutout of their foot, or you don't know, to know the exact placement or how long to knit the sock. If you can just find out the person's shoe size, then this will tell you how long the toe needs to be, how long the heel needs to be, and how long the foot length needs to be. And so that's like one of the things that I go to a lot, because I do a lot of gift knitting with socks, and I don't necessarily, know. And it even gives you the circumference if the person has a small, medium, or wide foot, for how many stitches to cast on that correlates to that. So I like this book. This is a great resource handbook. The Sock Knitter's Handbook. Now, I know there are probably tons of other books out there too. This is just one I have in my library on sock knitting. I have several others, and maybe, I'll bring those out at another time. But this one, it's a little, because I use it a lot. And one thing I like about it too is because it's got the little binder thing in here, so I can fold it over and lay it flat. So I like that too, while I'm reading, while I'm knitting, to try to figure it out. All right, so that's what I have today. I know this is pretty short. I've been trying to keep my episodes a little shorter than before, but I do appreciate you giving me time out of your day, or out of your evening, out of your week, all of those above, to spend with me in my she shed. So thank you very much. Please, everyone, stay healthy. Make sure you check on your loved ones and tell them how much you appreciate them and how much you love them every day, because time is short, time is precious, and we don't know from one moment to the next. But I love you all very much. And until next time, hopefully, maybe I might be doing another episode even sooner. And we'll see you. Bye-bye.